Success. Suck bloody cess.
I almost did the Borat thing and realised it's
The Borat thing?
probably when you said success.
Oh.
Did I tell you that we saw Borat on my birthday?
No.
Yeah, well, Sacha Baron Cohen, not him as
No,
Borat.
I assumed that you saw Sacha Baron Cohen, not just the actual Borat wandering the streets.
Yeah, well, we were walking down the road and Piers turns around and goes, "That's Borat." He couldn't think of the name. He was like, "It's Borat," and and I looked around and he was like, "Oh my god, he looks just like a dad. Like he
looks like a normal person."
Yeah.
It turns out that when he's not acting, he's just a normal person. What the hell is this? Right. Well.
Welcome back.
What a fucking disaster that's been. We've just spent about 10 years trying to fix my tech problems. Turns out we just never will. So it's a lost cause, and this is the last episode of. No, it's not the last episode. Don't worry.
I was gonna say, where the fuck are you going? I thought you were gonna say it's the last episode of the year, and I was like, have I slept through a month or two? Like, what's gone on?
It's the end of December. Yay! Let's go 2023. It's gonna be the best year ever. No one say that this year, okay? By the way.
Oh my god, why did people, they were like, oh yeah, COVID will be over, it'll be such a good year, everyone will get their lives back.
No.
I feel like for me this year has been the waiting room experience. Like nothing's really happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, like honestly, the last, what month? We're in the 10th month. Like
Apparently.
It's just sort of flipped. Oh, I'd also like to quickly address, I have a massive, spot on my forehead. The thing is, the spot's not that big, but the swelling around it.
Well, that's okay. We all get spots.
But it's just really funny because it looks like a lump on my head, like it looks like I've been injured. But in case anyone thinks I'm about to sprout horns, it's just a spot.
All right. Well, that's reassuring to me because I think we were all slightly worried that you would sprout horns. It's kind of something that preoccupies my every waking moment. So yeah, how it is.
Pre-Halloween special. Oh shit! Will we have another podcast out by Halloween? Probably not. This will be the one, wouldn't it?
This will probably be the one. Yes, it will.
We should have done something spooky. I mean, our lives are
spooky. So. It's unnecessary for us to spookify it anymore.
You were going to tell me something on podcast about your computer, about my audio, I'm guessing. Did I fuck up?
No. Now, this is the interesting thing. Normally, you're expecting me to say that you did something and it was weird. I recorded the whole of the last time. So last time we did it was 3 weeks ago. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys. Last week was not my week. Just didn't wake up. Didn't do it. Obviously, I woke up eventually. It's not like a metaphor for dying. I did wake up eventually. It's just I didn't wake up when I needed to. And then we agreed between us that it was not going to happen because we were both not feeling it. So we just took a week's break. I think that's okay. I think that's fine. But having taken that week's break, no, that's not true. Go back before that week's break. Even I recorded the whole podcast. I sat down to edit it, and I went, "What's happened with my audio?" And it suddenly dawned on me that for some reason, I always record the audio so that when I get my video, it has one track which has my audio and a second track which has Kat's audio. And normally I can just match it up and then drop the second track and replace it with Kat's actual audio, and it sounds beautiful. And it's all in sync and it's wonderful. This time, it had decided to record on both tracks, both sets of audio in one. Which meant...
That's not great.
It's not great. It's not. So I was struggling because I was like, I don't have a clean audio track of me now, and I don't know how I'm gonna. So I had a little panic, but then I realized, thank God, that for some reason it had also recorded on the second track just cat, and I went, hang on, we can do something about this. So luckily I went
Oh
into
my
Audacity
god.
and I was able to basically
That's so
remove Cat's audio from the one which should have just been my audio, leaving us with the clean track, and then I synced it up and then it was fine and everything worked.
That is so long.
And then luckily I removed it and it sounded clean, so the episode that went out sounded fine. But the panic, let me tell you,
Jesus.
the panic that I had completely fucked the podcast and that Cat's audio was going to have to sound like just what comes from Messenger, which, by the way, Facebook or Meta, whatever, sucks ass. The quality
Does.
sucks ass, and it's not necessary because I've used Discord and it sounds a lot better. So what the fuck's going on? But yeah, basically, I nearly had a full-scale breakdown because I thought I've ruined episode 48 of the World's Greatest Podcast. I've completely just destroyed it. And as it turns out, everything's okay. Don't worry. Take it easy. Take a chill pill. Everything's going to be alright. So,
the next
there you go.
episode is episode 50 then?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yes, it is. We are at episode 49 today. Welcome in. I know we already said welcome, and I know it's been about 10 minutes since we started, but welcome to 49. How do you feel? Feel good?
Old.
Yes. Yes, that is the overriding bit. I have a question for you, actually. If I was to ask you, just a spot check, and you just got to say, if you don't know, just say you don't know, and if you do know, you just got to say it. Do you know who our Prime Minister actually is?
What? Is it not? What?
What do you know?
Is it not Liz Truss?
Okay, do you know who the Chancellor is?
No.
No. And that's fine, because at this point, by the time this episode goes out, it will be outdated and everything will have gone shitty again.
Okay.
It's just the thing. I mean, I watch the news like an idiot. And
I have
every
not watched
10
the news
seconds.
in a couple of weeks.
Let me tell you, Liz Truss is making a complete pig zero. She has fucked it. Let me just tell you.
She's fucked the economy, isn't she?
She's fucked everything she touches up. It's all going wrong here in the UK. I just thought that everyone should know that. But I just wondered whether, if I asked you whether you would just know or whether you doubt yourself. I just thought.
Well, honestly, I'm
quite anti-UK at the moment. I've really taken a strong. I'm quite angry about the state of the UK. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I don't blame you. I mean, it's a bit shit at the moment.
Yeah.
I genuinely I am gonna be real with you guys. The last few weeks have just not been the one.
No,
just
I
not.
agree. As in, I agree for me. Not I agree. Like I've known her and she's not been the one. So no, my few weeks have also not been the one.
Yeah, I mean, I think previously I've mentioned, it's not been a great week, but the last few weeks I've just struggled, and I think. I don't know. I think that every time you look at the news, I mean, the news is always negative, let's be honest, but even things like Leah from Milton Keynes, that all are posted. For 3 years in Milton Keynes, we've seen all these posters saying £20,000 reward if you've seen a sighting of this girl. I think she was 19 when she went missing.
Yeah, something like that.
And they found, I'm presuming, her remains. Yeah, and I feel like I know things with COVID are much better, but I think the world definitely feels quite bleak.
Yes.
I mean, I know there's some people who are thriving, doing well in their jobs, and making the most of stuff. But I don't know. I'm definitely feeling the weight of the world's problems right now.
This is why I was thinking next week, really 50 should be a celebration stream, right? A celebration episode. But
yeah,
I was thinking, and I don't know what you think about doing some kind of like mental health thing with me and you and Piers again, and kind of
Oh yeah.
just going back to it, because I feel like in so many ways the last time we did it was episode like 10 or something.
Yeah, we were so fresh, like,
And like
into it.
like episode 10 was a while ago. Episode 10 was a while ago. Like it definitely probably a year ago now, more
Yeah,
than.
must be.
And so it'd be like interesting, I guess, to see where we've come since then, I think. And also I think for me, my mental health has been garbage now for like real garbage for the last kind of few months, I guess. We've not really talked about it, but I've always thought that it's something I do want to talk about, like in the right time, in the right space. And I think I'm kind of ready to talk more
Yeah.
about that. And I know that I feel like me, you, and Piers have all had kind of things happen, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what you thought. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely up for that. I mean, it's difficult because if we come into the podcast and like you so want it to be a positive thing,
Yeah.
but when you don't want it to be fake as well. Like, I mean, the last few weeks, I've just it's been like I want to do the podcast, but actually, having the energy, like
Mhm.
it's hard when you're not feeling great,
I
you
think because
know.
you want to do it right. I'm not like, I don't want to just. It's like that thing, we like, because we always say, we're not getting paid to do this. We're doing it because we want to. And when you do something because you want to, you're like, as much as you might feel some kind of obligation maybe to publish an episode every kind of 2 weeks, whatever. If you get to that time and it's just not, you're not feeling it, you're like, well, I could just like phone it in and like be like, yeah, fine. But like, who wants to listen to someone who's not having a fun time? But I think having like a space where maybe, I mean, even if it's just me and you, I don't know if Piers, I've literally just thrown this on you, so I have no idea if Piers would even be down for it. But I
Well,
think,
he would be, but I don't know. Like, he seems. I mean, I'll speak to him directly, but like he's been doing okay. Like, I don't think
well, that's good though,
he's.
right?
Yeah. Oh, so that might be it might be a positive.
Well, I think that's the thing, is it's not always all
It
down.
doesn't have to be. Yeah.
If like, we should be able to like celebrate success as well as like talk about
Yeah. That
what's
is. Yeah.
difficult. So I think that's good,
Yeah. I'll um I'll have a chat with him and see what we can get rolling. I don't know. I'm gonna stop talking now. Oh my god! Actually, should I say about what happened to me when I called you?
Yes, you should. I was just gonna say. Oh no, wait, no, wait. Let me write it down. I'll come back to it. That's what I
Okay.
should do. Yes, tell us about you calling me at work this week.
No, because like I'm having a hard time at the moment with like internal, like not what do you call it, like intrusive thoughts where you just
Yes,
you like bully yourself. You're
yes.
just
To
like, you're a
be
fucking
clear,
idiot. Why did you
I
say that?
was very glad that you called me that day because I was having a bit of a shit one, and you calling me was quite nice. So if that
Oh.
is in any way an intrusive thought, then it can fuck off because I very much appreciated that.
Oh, that's good because, like, I'm glad my misery and embarrassment. Because that was the thing. Like, I did laugh throughout the experience, but it was just this sense of
It was the shared
like just
pain.
embarrassment. Okay, I won't put you on any more of a cliffhanger than you already are. Okay, so basically, I had a job interview this week. I go in, and it was scheduled to be an hour long, and like in my head, I thought, oh, it probably won't actually be an hour long because they probably want a little bit of um time either side to just sort of get prepared for the next candidate or whatever. And Piers said the same thing, like he didn't think it'd be an hour long. It was an hour long, and they were asking me some very long questions, which with my that was the thing. It wasn't even necessarily like complicated questions, but because they were long-winded, I was having a terrible time. I kept having to ask them to say the question again, so I knew I was like answering it correctly, because there was one question they asked and I went on a tangent, and then I was like, fuck, what was the question? Like, have I actually answered it, or have I just said a load of sorry, just, oh my god, I got distracted.
This is it live. You're watching it happen, everyone. You're watching it live.
Oh my god, that's so bad.
No, it's fine. Don't worry.
This is evidence for my ADHD diagnosis, I swear.
If it needed any evidence, please just refer to this podcast.
I was literally like, scroll? Scroll? Yeah, anyway, it was hard. One of the questions was something along the lines of, how would you manage your relationship with multiple stakeholders and maintain a positive relationship with multiple stakeholders, or something like that. It's like, what?
Yeah, the businessy shit.
Yeah, the previous question was like, how would you manage a positive relationship with one stakeholder? So I was not expecting to then have to, without repeating myself. Then anyway, I was not feeling great after the interview. I feel like they liked me as a person, but I cracked a couple of jokes and they didn't laugh. So I was like, oh fuck. I was like, I'm glad it's over. Like, I didn't do very well, but like, it was a very intense interview. I've got through it now. It's given me experience, whatever. I walked back to the car and Piers is sat there. He's got the window open. I'm like, great. Time to go home. Get in the car. He turns to, like, we're in the big car because Piers wanted to pick up a door after the interview, so we needed the car. Turns the key.
Every time you mentioned it at the time, and there's something about that added detail that just gets me.
Just picking up a door. Yeah, no, it's fucking random. Oh, I didn't even mention what happened with the door. I'll get to that. So Piers turns the key and the fucking engine goes. It's not nothing.
That's a genuine sound, by the way. She recorded that. That's the sound. Weird. I think you had a cat in your engine cap.
Legit.
Jesus.
Cat in the engine cap.
Oh. Hey.
Oi, oi. So
oi, there it is.
We very quickly realised that the car battery is dead, and I'm like, fuck, this is not great. We're right outside the window, which I've just had my fucking interview in, and the car has broken down. And in this car park, there was like 3 other cars. So it wasn't. The chances are that there's 2 people interviewing me. This is not a good situation. So kill me. We're trying to work out what we can do. Piers is like, oh, I'll go and like buy some jump leads from Halfords, and I was like, Piers, should I? Oh, Piers's phone had died and his vape had died as well. So like, thankfully I charged my phone, so we were okay. But yeah, Halfords was over an hour walk away, so like, what, you know, it would be faster to wait for the breakdown people than it would be to drive there. We were anyway, like, whole thing, it's a bit of a nightmare. I walked to Tesco's to go buy jump leads, which I still wasn't entirely sure why I was buying jump leads, because I was like, Piers, he was like, we'll just have to ask someone to like jump. I was like, I'm not fucking going in there. I've just had an interview. I just stabbed myself in the nose. It's like, not going in there and asking if I can. I couldn't. I was tapped out. I was like, I've already embarrassed myself by saying, if you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back, which I said in my interview. That was like when I was talking about the stakeholders. It's like, I was explaining about, you know, doing favours for people, which has meant that, you know, it's been good because then they've done favours for us, and I said the word, you scratch my back, I'll scratch Fucking hell. So I'm like going, why the fuck did I say that? You're a fucking idiot, you're a fucking idiot. Anyway, I was like, I cannot go back into this office to like get jump started. Anyway, I call the breakdown cover people. They're like, your cover expired in June. And it was Pierce's mum's cover for the Volvo. Pierce was like separate for our car. Anyway, they're like, it's expired. I called Joe. No, it's not expired. Like, tell them. So I call them back. Like, apparently it's not expired. And they're like, no, it is. So I fucking call Joe again. And then she shows me this letter and it dates to fucking 2021. I was like, Joe. Joe, I've just argued with these people. Anyway, it was just a mistake. It happens. So then they were like, it will cost 160 quid for us to jumpstart your car. It's like, what? So then I called Joe back. She's like, okay, Steve will come down in his car and jumpstart the car. Because we couldn't you can't jumpstart obviously from an electric, can you? So no. I don't think you can.
I don't think so. I don't think it worked.
No, like you do have an internal battery, like for all the sort of aircon and shit like that, but I don't think you can jumpstart from that. I don't know, but I then said to Chris, if Steve comes and jumpstarts the Volvo in a Maserati, and I've just answered, oh, I just couldn't. I just thought it was so embarrassing, Yeah. Thankfully, I come back from the shops. I think this is, you didn't know what happened after this point, did you?
No.
Okay, so
at this point, I actually did have to get back to work, and I was like, I'm really sorry, but I have to go.
I was so glad, like, you were working from home that day.
I wasn't working from home. I was in the office that
You
day.
weren't? Oh my god.
No, I was in the office.
Oh, that is love. That is love. Okay. Yeah, okay, so I get back to the car and Pierce, this guy comes out literally as I'm walking to Pierce and he goes, do you need a jump start? I can help. And he fucking jump starts our car, which was brilliant. He had jump leads a lot. Amazing. And he goes, oh, you here for an interview? He's looked at Piers and then looked at me. I was like, oh yeah, I am. He goes, oh, I'm the regional manager.
I love that.
At this point, I'm like, kill me. But he was nice. He jump started and then ran in quick, like it was all over and done with. The dog just farted. That's lovely. It was all good. Car started, and then it got worse. The problem got worse because we drive off, and I am trying to call Steve to tell him you don't need to pick us up anymore. He's not picking up his phone. So Steve is driving 40 minutes, and it's coming close to rush hour. You know, driving towards London. And we had to pick up the door, so we had to leave. The man does not pick up his phone, answer his text. I'm fucking FaceTiming him, messenger calling him, the lot. This man is not picking up his phone. We then see him, like, about 15 minutes later, we're down the road, and we see him in his car. Piers hangs out the window. We're beeping the car and screaming, and he doesn't even look up. We're like, how? And at that point, we were like, he's gone. Like, there's nothing we can do. We've tried to tell him that when he gets there, he'll look at his phone to see what, like, whereabouts in the car park we are, and then he'll realise we're not there. We did eventually get hold of him before he got there. It took him, just as a side note, like 2 hours to get home because he got stuck on the M1. We go to get the door. I'll try and keep, like, just the story a bit short because I keep rambling. We go to collect the door in Aylesbury, and Piers looks at me, so I had to stay in the car because the first thing Piers did was turn the engine off when we got there. I was like, no! So we quickly he turned it back on. He got back in the car, turned it back on, and we were just like holding our breath, like, please, please turn back on. It did, and so I then sat in the driver's seat because I didn't really like the idea of leaving the key in the ignition, car running. Yeah.
Did you have that thing of being worried that someone's gonna like get in their car?
Yeah, and I know that I think with that car, when you lock it and you're inside, the alarm starts going off. And I just didn't need any more embarrassment. I'm not gonna lie, I was tapped out. So I sat in the driver's seat, and I just see Pierce's face. Like they're carrying this door out of this person's house, and he won this door on an eBay auction for 99p. Just for context. And Pierce is
Your
like
classic 99p door. You know how it is, everyone.
Honestly, like, that's just my life. He's like shaking his head, and he's got this death glare, like, no, 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 like, no, we need to get out of here. We need to get out of here. I'm like, what the fuck is going on, Pierce? What the fuck is going on? I then hop out to like help him put it in the boot. We got it in, and like it was a man and his wife, and they didn't say anything to me. I was like, oh, okay. They like smiled, but like didn't say anything. And Pierce goes, when we start driving off, he goes, that was the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. I got there, they opened the door, they didn't say a word. They just handed me the door and like followed me out with it. Like, I think the guy was kind of helping him, and the woman was just sort of following. There was no communication between like any of them, and it wasn't like a long walk to the car, but like you're carrying a door across the path. Like, it's still enough time to have a little, oh hi, like, what are you using this door for?
If I had somehow driven to this house in Aylesbury and knocked on the door looking expectantly, could I have left with the door?
I mean,
could I have taken the door if I turned up, didn't say a word? Maybe the only word I said was, oh, eBay. And they were like, hand me the
honestly,
door. I get in my car. Away I go. I've taken your 99p door.
And they were like sat there watching us leave. Like, they had a sort of, not like conservatory, you know, in like a porch area where well, you've kind of got one where you've got a door, you've got two doors. They were like sat there with the first door open, staring as we drove off. I was like, oh my god, it's a murder house. It is a fucking murder house.
It 100% is a murder house.
So that was, and then we got back and Steve wasn't there. This is how long it took. Like, we went from near London to Aylesbury to home, and he wasn't back. And I was like, what the fuck has happened to Steve? Called him. I was like, he should be back by now. He's in his fast car. He'll be doing 100, no doubt. Like, nope, fucking stuck on the motorway.
He picked up this time, did he?
He was a sport about it. Well, yeah, he picked up when he was about 5 minutes from home, so it was okay. I'm gonna put a tracker. You know, like, we've got the GPS trackers on the dogs. I'm gonna put a tracker on him. Honestly,
I don't think that's what he needs. He needs like an electric. He needs what I probably need. Like, forget smartwatches. You just need an electric bracelet that when you get like a call, and maybe you add certain people, and it basically just shocks you until you do something about it. And like, if you don't do something about it long enough, then you end up shitting yourself because it just is too much. Like,
nice.
it's just got to, because the embarrassment of doing that one time, I think, would solve all of the problems. If you shat yourself because you didn't pick up your phone, you'd never miss a phone call again.
Yeah.
So I've solved my own problem about being useless there.
Okay, I'll work on the bracelet. I'll make a prototype.
If you could. Well, that's a fucking disaster. But
the whole experience is pretty, like, it was funny, but like mildly traumatic.
As I said to you, I feel like if I called you and explained exactly what you've told me, which, to be fair, it would not be that strange for me to do given my life, you would probably tell me, now I could be wrong, that yes, it was very embarrassing and like weird and comical and almost like it could have been written, but let's be real, these things do happen. Admittedly, to you they happen in a strange and perverse kind of way, but these things
Yeah.
happen. Like, cars
It's live.
mess up sometimes, and often when you least want them to. And I like, my car is not. I think I had it once where I needed to drive somewhere and my car would not start, and then somehow I basically managed to jump start it and whatever. But basically,
Yeah.
it happens. And yes, it may have happened outside the place, and you may have ended up being jump started by the regional manager. But, like, I don't think, realistically, if it's a professional thing, they can't take into account their
No.
car broke down
No.
outside and, like, oh my god. Because it's outside of your control. It's just these things happen. And to be fair, even the thing about you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. I have one day, if I ever end up in a kind of position where I'm like interviewing people, I would want people to come in and be more like you, more like say that, because like I think this is the thing, we all have this pressure in like the corporate world. Like you're saying, it's like the stakeholder stuff. Like, I
Yeah.
hate those kind of conversations. It's like, how would you manage your stakeholders? How would you manage their expectations? How
Be
would you
nice to
communicate
people.
with them? And like, so everyone just recites the answer they've seen on LinkedIn and remembers to put in all the words about how I'm a very customer-facing individual and I would listen to all of their needs and devise a solution that works for them and for us. A compromise that makes sure that they continue working with us. Fuck that, right? Like, everyone says this. And actually, someone who comes in and just says it like that is like, well, I like that freshness. I like that sense of you're being your authentic self. You're not just reciting a
Yeah.
thing. Like that's how people actually speak. People don't speak in this, like, an interview just is a weird environment to be in, and I hate them with a passion. But
And the job is in music as well, so like
exactly.
hopefully the informalness was not, it's not out of place too much. I think they can't respond to it because they're in the hiring panel, but
Mm,
like I did, we shared a couple of personal stories
mm.
between each other, which was oh, why did I say personal stories? That sounds so gross. Like,
Cat
um,
spoke to
you
them
know,
about their periods. They shared about the time they had erectile dysfunction. It was a whole thing.
but like,
You didn't do that, did
I
you?
don't know. I feel like if I don't get the job, I think it's probably because they think I'm too young and inexperienced. But
Yes,
like,
exactly.
um, I think they liked me as a person. Piers asked the fucking woman who the job is the job opening is because someone's taking maternity leave.
Mm.
He bloody asks the woman who's like about to take the maternity leave, whose job it is, to help jumpstart the car when I was at the shops. And I was like, Piers, was it a pregnant lady? He goes, oh, I don't know. It's like, what? It was her, but it's like, how did you not notice? Like, she's quite pregnant,
She's
and like,
very, very pregnant.
and when someone's got a petite frame as well, so it's
Mm.
very clear. It was just the fact that like, was she pregnant? He goes, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't. I feel like it's okay. I
Yeah,
understand the panic and the like intrusive thoughts because I know the feeling and I've had them. Um,
yeah,
but I think if you were to reverse the situation I was here now, you would tell me what I'm telling you, that like
yeah. No,
it's
for
it's
sure.
not as bad as it's, even though it felt like everything was going wrong, and like, because I think this thing is that one of those things happening maybe would have been okay for you, but it's
Yeah,
like this combination of all these things
yeah.
together.
I
Suddenly,
came
it
out of
seems
the
like the
interview
worst thing in the
like,
world.
yes, definitely. Like, I came out of the interview thinking, well, I didn't answer those questions
Mm,
very well, but I feel like I got my personality across, so I felt okay.
mm,
And then as soon as we had that period of like, fuck, we're outside the office, that's when it like built up in my brain, I think,
mm-hmm,
and became overwhelming.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think like
And the
I'll
worst
see
thing that
what happens.
happens, like, this was an experience. Like, you've got some, because interviews are never fun for anyone, and especially if you've not. I just like me when I applied for my promotion, like trying to write my CV and like change it, and I was like, I don't remember how to write a CV. I haven't done one of these in years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you need sometimes that little uncomfortable experience almost just to kind of get your head in the right mindset of, because the worst case scenario, you don't get it and you have to keep looking, and you'll get an interview somewhere else, and you go into it and maybe you're like 5% more prepared for certain questions than you would have been last time.
Yeah.
And maybe
It
that
is
makes all the difference.
definitely. And like, even if you do mock interviews with your friends and families, like nothing prepares you for,
No.
like, I was not expecting the stakeholders question. I think the word stakeholder threw me as well. Because if they'd said like events managers or something like that, I feel like I would have been comfortable. But as soon as I heard the word stakeholder, like I had tunnel vision. I was like, fucking hell. That sounds so important and scary, and it's a big technical word. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I feel
But
you.
yeah.
I was gonna tell you about something.
Are you pregnant?
No.
Oh.
Not yet. Apparently it's not recommended to drive a to use an electric car to jumpstart another car, by the way. Just so you know.
Oh, okay.
That's not
Okay,
what I
that's
wanted to
good
tell
to
you.
know.
I just wanted to let you know that one.
Okay. I'm glad you told me that though, because it's handy
Apparently
to
you
know
can
in the
use it sounds
future.
though like I think it's the scale of the electricity needed is like a lot for the electric car to like give, I guess. I don't know. I don't really understand, but
Yeah.
there you
I
go.
figured it didn't sound like it was going to be a good idea. So
No. Well, yeah, you trust your instincts, kind of thing.
yeah.
What was it? Okay, so as you know, I often talk about the podcast with people from my stream and things. And
Sorry,
my
but sorry to interrupt you. I just need to stop the dog licking because it's so loud, and I'm worried that that's
yeah,
just
I
going to be
could
going
hear a
on
little
while you're.
something there, and I just
Stop.
assumed it was
Good
Messenger.
boy. He's going to keep doing it.
He's absolutely going to keep doing it. We're just going to have to pretend it's not. Everyone's just
Yeah.
don't listen to that
Sorry.
noise. Don't think about it. My friend Jules was talking about the podcast, and I've now forgotten exactly what it was she said, but talking about various things. One of which included, "What's that thing behind you in your room?" I was like, "What do you mean? Like, what?" I was like, "Well, when I watch the podcast, I always think about what's behind you in your room, and I always look at this stuff and see what's moving around." I was like, "Oh, okay." And I have a picture of toffees from the Reborn stuff.
Oh yeah.
Basically behind me on my wardrobe. So I was like, "What is that poster?" And I was like, "Oh, I think I got confused." And I was like, "Oh no, that's Piers' band. That's their thing. It's their little thing." She's like, "Oh," and then like kept, and then we were talking about the episode where you recorded in bed with the
Yes.
laptop on your legs, and how watching. I explained how watching it was like, okay, so you're sat there, right, and you get comfortable, whatever. And about 10 seconds
Yeah.
later, you move and the laptop flies sideways. So now we're on a 45-degree thing, and you're like moving around. So like the camera's like, what? And then you get settled again. And then you're not comfortable, so you move again. It was like this whole episode of the camera just going backwards and forwards and like pointing every single direction because you're just yeeting this laptop around every time you decide to move. I think at one point you like and like bunch your legs up or whatever. So like that, I was just like, Jesus. I remember editing it. I was just
I
like,
did not even
sit
realize.
still. Why are you doing this? But it's one of these things I realize watching our podcast and editing is that
So funny.
I'm also terrible at sitting still. So for a large portion of the podcast, I'll be sat in the same position. It's fine. And about an hour in, I start to like really get uncomfortable in the position I'm in for whatever reason. So about an hour, you start noticing that I'm like shuffling around my chair a bit. I cross my legs, I uncross them. I cross my other leg, I uncross it. I sit on my leg, it hurts, so I stop sitting on it. I like lean around. I do like you can just see it, and it's the same like when I'm watching you as well. It's like you're like there, whatever, and I can literally see your eyes flick down and see something that you can fiddle with, and I know when it's happening. I watched it saying I can see you down like you fucking put that down, put that and I do it. You can see, you can literally watch me doing it where my eyes flick down. I go, oh, look at that, something nice to play with. And, like I did it while you were telling the story. Like it's just ridiculous. But
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
never like normally think about it. And when my friend said that, I was like, oh my god. It was kind of like nice because I was like, oh, someone actually watches and like takes note of the weird
Notices.
stuff we do. But
That is quite funny.
it definitely made me laugh. And also another side note, because all my stories are ultimately side notes to another story. I am happy to tell you that we reached 110 subscribers on our YouTube channel.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, I know that's probably not a lot to some people, but that's loads. Like,
Yeah.
and that's like natural growth. We've not promoted. That's crazy.
No, I don't even know how to do anything. So it was
Oh my god.
it was quite cool to see. I was like, oh, look at us. Look what we did.
Aww.
So that was very fun. I've had my first kind of real YouTube comments argument.
Oh. What now? So I know we've had the TikTok beef.
So this one was like a whole thing where this guy commented on one of our things and says, oh, random rambling without any context or content at all, A+ material. And so I
yeah,
replied, and I was like, thanks for the engagement. Because, I was like, you've commented on my thing. Now YouTube's going to show it to more people. I think YouTube did show it to more people as well.
That's hilarious.
And I told my friends about it because I was just like, eye rolling, whatever. And they, I didn't realize that wasn't why I said it. That they went and found it and they were like, to this guy, were like, well, this describes every podcast I've ever watched, and actually, I really enjoy it. So there you go. But this guy replies and he's like, oh, this upload of this clip. So the clip was setting up you talking about Pippin and the box thing. So it was about how you had this box full of wedding stuff and you had to you couldn't go in the attic was full, so I had to go in the hallway, in the spare room, sorry, and then the door was open to the spare room. So it was setting up, it was groundwork, because I was like, it's too long as one clip. So I split it into 3 and released it over the day. And this guy said it was a genuine waste of data and time that doesn't offer any insight into the podcast. I was like, Jesus, you've psychoanalyzed this far too much.
Christ, we're not like
gone for this one. He called it a nothing burger. Neither the start of anything nor the end. Just random useless information without context. Offers no insight, no point, no wit. You are not defending the podcast here. It is about that clip. And you can't seriously, without delusion or a sober mind, claim that this minute or so of nothing without any context given has anything of value or entertainment to offer. He was very angry.
Jesus.
So I said, entirely valid, but so please do feel free to watch literally anything else and don't ever think about this clip again, because the world is miserable enough. This doesn't make you happy, so I hope you find something else that does make you happy. He never actually replies to me. He only replies to my friends. So he carries on. There's like back and forth and back and forth. He carries on. His bland nothingness, a failing bait that is so utterly devoid of everything that it only acts as a deterrent.
How many words can I use without?
So I then proceeded to. I'll read you something. This is the last comment I wrote, and it was basically he never replied after this. He says that we weren't capable of critical or independent thought, or maybe we're just bots. And so I'm going to read you some choice things from this one.
That's so funny.
So I started and said, I suppose I could be a bot, yes. It has been suggested from time to time. It's quite a deep existential question, really, about what it means to be a human. And as I'm incapable of critical or even independent thought, I suppose I'll never come to any kind of conclusion. This clip is 29 seconds worth of content from a much longer podcast. It opens by setting the scene for a Pippin story, which fans of the podcast will understand the context for. People who aren't fans at this point might wonder who this Pippin is and keep watching, or they might decide they don't care and move on. There is an exchange between two hosts indicating that the Pippin story, just introduced in the seconds prior, hasn't yet been told, and so the other person is interested to hear the story. It establishes the context that the two are likely to be friends who speak outside of the podcast. We can also infer that the other person is interested in hearing the story, which is a clear justification for why it is being told. The clip goes on. At this point, 11 seconds have passed. We can now infer that Pippin is likely to be the above-mentioned bastard dog. We can safely assume the dog, Pippin, who this story is about, belongs to Cat. Furthermore, Chris states that he is a bit of a prick, suggesting there have been previous conversations regarding Pippin's behaviour. We now know that the clip, a portion of a longer form piece of content, is introducing a story to the listener. The story is about Pippin, a dog, and is likely to be about some mischief that the dog, a male indicated through the use of pronouns in a previous exchange, has got up to. Cat then continues to explain how the spare bedroom had a box full of stuff. The information provided here develops the story, creating a cliffhanger of sorts. The viewer is now aware that there is a box containing wedding stuff. A wedding is a significant event, and the stuff may allude to decorations, props, tools, or something of value for the occasion. We therefore understand that this must be important. A potential criticism that might be made at this point is that the clip concludes without a resolution to the story. This might leave the viewer with questions, such as, what happened next? It is valid to state that the clip does not contain a resolution to the story, because the clip does not contain a resolution to the story. However, through critical or independent thought, the viewer may come to a number of conclusions. These may include, but are not limited to, the viewer asks, what happened next? The lack of resolution implies the story has not been finished. The upload history of the channel in question, along with an understanding that YouTube is a platform that sees the continuous upload of content, suggests that at this point, the viewer might choose to watch or listen to the podcast, although it is obviously quite long, and so some might be deterred. B, the viewer might conclude there are further clips to come. Most of the information relayed in the clip could be described as establishing context, and so a creator may have chosen to split the story being told into bite-sized chunks that would be subsequently uploaded. This provides the viewer with the opportunity to decide that if they're not interested in the establishing context, they should spend their time on something different. Another potential conclusion is the viewer says there was nothing in this clip. This is factually inaccurate as the clip is 29 seconds long, containing both audio and visual content along with subtitles. It is also incorrect because, as discussed extensively above, the clip provides a great deal of establishing context for a story that will be told, both in the podcast and in potential future clips. The viewer may wonder why the clip does not provide groundbreaking insights into the collapse of the pound sterling following Prime Minister Liz Truss and Chancellor of the Exchequer Kwasi Kwarteng's announcement of a mini-budget, which included such measures as the abolishing of the 45% higher rate of tax for individuals earning over £150,000 in 1 year. As the clip was not designed to answer such issues, or in fact anything on this level, this would be ridiculous. Despite the exaggeration of a hypothetical situation, it is worth stating here that the podcast, advertised as two failing millennials chatting nonsense, is unlikely to lead to content that is massively insightful or speeding up human progress. Instead, it is a light-hearted take on everyday life that not everyone will be interested in. However, as someone who struggles with independent or critical thought, I wouldn't know, but I'd probably find something that made me happy for the sake of my blood pressure, if nothing else. Never replied to that.
That is beautiful.
Bastard.
That is beautiful.
Never ever replied to it. Can you imagine?
I really hope he read through all of it.
I hope so too. I mean, I'm not gonna. Never replied. So that's fun.
So funny.
Kind of sad he didn't reply, to be honest, because I spent a lot of time writing it. But he never replied to me, which suggests that he probably didn't care enough to actually face the fact that I was telling he was a fucking idiot. Anyway, that video was one of our most liked and most views. It got 86 likes. Only 4 dislikes, so
hell.
quite a lot of people seemed to enjoy the content. Just a little thing
That's
in
quite
there.
a lot, actually, isn't it?
And then to top it all off, I decided to make a video which was called the Nothing Burger. And I'll send it to you just now.
I'll do a live reaction.
You can do a live reaction. I think it's very fair.
I feel like did I see
there it
it?
is. Enjoy
I
that.
might have seen this.
It's a Nothing Burger.
Oh wow. Oh.
I'm gonna be honest, you've seen the whole thing now. It's just a minute worth of this. I don't know why I did it. I just felt like I was in a really fucking mood.
I've been cursed.
I was like, you bastard, I'm gonna really hit you with this one. And that was that. So I decided
I clicked on it.
That's
I kept clicking on it. I was like, is it
You
stuck?
thought it stopped. You thought no, that's it. That's all there is to it. It's literally a nothing burger. Which is what he said that my clips were, and I was like, well, I'll give you a nothing burger. There it is. So that's my experience on the internet.
That's so funny. Oh my god. That's so funny. What is wrong with me?
We've got about 1 million different messages on Instagram, all of which seem to be, well, let me be real with you. I think I've been
logged out.
Well,
sorry, I'm so bad.
I'll read you some messages. This one is from
promote with us.
Militza. Hey, I hope this DM finds you well. We are a world famous brand of toys and clothing for dogs products at the Fuzzy Pet Official. We really like your partner, and we believe that he's photogenic. We would love to offer him some free products to represent our brand. All we ask is to publish a post with a good photo wearing the gifts. This message is from Zanetta. Hello, we are a world famous brand of toys and clothing for dogs accessories at the Fuzzy Pet Official. We really like your partner and we believe that he's photogenic. We would love to offer him some free gifts to represent our brand. All we ask is to publish a post with a photo wearing a gift so we can share them on our Instagram page. Are you seeing a theme here, by the way?
Yeah.
There's like 6 other ones of these.
That's so funny.
They just keep going. So that's happening.
They're just on the requests. They're not. Yeah, I can see
them.
That's all good.
It gets filtered out.
Missing like real.
No. But if you want to get Pippin some stuff, then we can do it. We can get him some stuff because he's a partner. That's poor instead of partner. It's port. So it's a shit thing. And he's photogenic. It's absolute trash. Anyway, some dumbass bots on the internet have been trash, but obviously your dogs are very cute, and they should know that nonetheless.
Pippin had to get knocked out the other day for his teeth to be cleaned.
Oh,
that was quite.
Are they clean now? Is he a clean boy?
They are clean now. Honestly, like I thought he was gonna have to have some extractions because he like leaves some of the food in the back of his gums. Like he doesn't. I think they say it's quite common because they've got such a long mouth. Like they get food stuck in the back, but he's so bad for it. And he was such a fucking pain in the ass. He was a nightmare. I had to put a muzzle on him because when he got his jab, he got funny with the vet, which he's never done before. He started growling and he almost knocked me out. I was trying to like knock me over, not knock me out. I was holding him. He started freaking out. So when I took him for the teeth thing, I put a muzzle on him and stuff. And then they took him and they put him in one of the kennels and he was howling. And I had to wait to sign some forms. I sat there for like 20 minutes and he was howling and all the people were so busy at the vets. And I was just like, my eyes started watering. I was like, my boy. And then when I came to pick him up, they're like, have you had a good day? I was like, no. No, my boy's been knocked out. But he's fine. He's all good.
What was it we were saying last episode about you and your dogs, and you were like protective dog mum, like, oh my boy,
Oh my god, my precious baby can do no wrong, even though he's a massive dickhead.
He's an
And
absolute
Dolly,
cunt.
he is a fucking. Are you a bit of a cunt?
Sorry, cat, that had no context or content, and it was just a nothing burger. So can you never say that again, please?
No, not allowed to talk about you, my giant rat. We had to go to the vets, right? We had Twiggy went in for an emergency appointment because she
To be clear,
she
Twiggy
had
and
a
Dolly are Steve and Joe's dogs.
yeah. So it's a bit weird because like Joe goes to the stables like every other day, so she'll sometimes bring the dogs over here if we go out. So it's kind of like Dolly and Twiggy are over there most days. Pippin and Peg are over here, but like I still consider it as like the collective of us having 4 dogs. But Twiggy had a little cut on her paw and it got infected and she wasn't doing too well. She had temperature, so they had to go to an emergency appointment for Twiggy. And then like a couple of days later, where were we? We were somewhere. Can't remember. We get this call saying we've had to go for an emergency appointment to the vets, and we're like, oh, with Twiggy again, and they were like, no, with Dolly, she can't breathe.
Whoa.
Like, what? Yeah, Dolly got pneumonia like overnight from what's it called? It's pneumonia, but it's caused by we think she ate food too quickly and it's gone down the wrong, like it's gone down a windpipe. It's called, it's not asphyxiation, like aspirated pneumonia or something like that.
Yeah.
So she had to be on a ventilator and stayed there for a day or two. I can't remember.
Thing.
So it was like back to back, like the fucking. And then Pippin, I completely forgot. Just I don't know. Like I said, I've not been in the best place for the last few weeks. My mind's just been like elsewhere. Completely forgot about Pippin's teeth cleaning appointment, and he wasn't meant to eat the night before. Thankfully, they just like pushed it to a later time, so it was fine. But I completely forgot. And Pierce said we were weighing the dogs. It was just really random. We were weighing them on the Wii Fit because it has a feature where you can weigh your dogs.
The Wii Fit's still coming in useful in 2022.
Yeah, and it's just a bit easier than like doing it on the scales because we can track their progress on it. We just make sure Peg doesn't lose weight basically, but we just weighed Pippin for fun because he's a chunky dog.
He's a chunky boy.
And like we were weighing them, and then Pierce goes, "Oh yeah, Pippin was meant to have a vet's appointment today." He says this, and I'm like, "Yeah, now!"
Oh my god!
Call the vet. I'm like, "Oh shit!" So I'm like driving him to the vets, like swinging around all the bloody country lanes, and it was fine. But like we've had a mad run with the dogs. 3 out of the 4 dogs had like quite big procedures done in the last.
Jeez, the vets are raking it in from you, aren't they?
Oh my god! Do you know how much it's cost us? Because they were uninsured.
Oh, they were uninsured. Oh,
because the thing was to insure them, it's around 40 quid per dog. And it doesn't include if they've got any prior conditions. So like Peg's got arthritis, she has a 50 quid jab it's meant to be every month, but it's normally every 3 months because she doesn't need it that often. But it was 3.5 grand, I think. Something like that.
That's too much money.
You know, like I could have a fucking decent car, decent car with that money. So yeah, that was an ouchie. 3.5 was it? Something like it was like 2.5. Dolly's thing was the one that was like 2.5 grand or something. Jeez. Because they just charged. It was £500 for an X-ray, and I think she needed a couple of them, or it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a bit of an ouchie. Thankfully, 2 of the dogs were Joe and Steve's that cost the most money. Pippin's was like 200. No, it was about £300, but we got a refund because they didn't need to do any extractions or something. So we were okay. Joe and Steve, fuck me.
I always think
the dogs are now insured.
It shows how It's like when you hear about some like I asked my friends about American healthcare to explain
Oh
some stuff
yeah,
to
it's
me because I did not
awful.
understand the hell of it.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand, so I was like, okay, so if there's a hospital near me, but they don't take my insurance, and the hospital that does take my insurance is like 20 miles away. If I call the
Mm.
ambulance, where will they take me? And they were like, well, they might take you to the one that's near you if you're really critical to stabilize you, and then you'll be
Yeah.
transferred. But then you have to pay more money to the hospital that they took you to in the first place because that's not insured. So then that's just on you. And then I didn't realize
Ooh.
sometimes you have to pay for the ambulance as well because the ambulance is
Yeah.
sometimes. I was like, what do you mean you have to pay for the ambulance? What do you
Yeah.
mean? Oh
Well,
yeah, that could be a different company as well. I was like, huh? So I just you start seeing how this money, and it's the same thing with like animals. When you have to pay like £500 for an X-ray or whatever, you suddenly realize how lucky you are to live like in a country where, at least for our personal health, like it's obviously covered by the NHS. So it's not like I go and get an X-ray and they're like, that will be £500, please. You got that money?
the only thing I would say is, okay, this, like, I'm completely grateful for the NHS. I think it's a wonderful thing, and I think more countries should have it.
Mm,
Obviously, it's underfunded, and that is no fault of
no.
anyone who works for the NHS.
Thanks,
Um,
Conservatives. So,
mhm.
what happened?
Basically, last week, I can't remember what I said to you, but when we were trying to work out if we were going to do the podcast
Hmm.
later, I was fucking dying.
Hmm.
I had like severe, I don't know if it was period pain, but I had like some sort of pain going on. Um really bad. I ended up having cocodamol and I felt like fucking sick.
Hmm.
And I'd had it like for a couple of days. The week before that, it's actually like there's been a few things that's happened since the last podcast. I've just realised. Um, so two weeks ago,
Hmm.
2 weekends ago, um, I we had Barbie over.
Yes.
Um, yeah, she came and stayed, and I got this fucking text message saying, "Remember, like, just a reminder about your ultrasound appointment tomorrow."
Oh god.
Or it was like 2 days. I was like, what? Like, I knew I'd been referred for one months ago, but
Hmm.
I hadn't received a letter, hadn't received any like information about like when it was happening. Um, and then I was freaking out. Called called the department. I was like, I've got this reminder, but it says what time, but it doesn't say what hospital because
Hmm.
it said it may not be at Luton and Dunstable. It could be anywhere.
Hmm.
And my last one was not there. I can't remember where it was, but it was
Hmm.
somewhere quite far away. Um, and so I was getting really stressed. I kept calling in,
Hmm.
and they bounced me around to all these different departments, and
Hmm.
all of them were fucking shut. Like, none
Hmm.
of them, the lines were too busy or whatever, so they weren't accepting calls. And I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna miss this appointment because I don't know where it is.
Hmm.
Like, I will drop my plans for this appointment, that's fine, but I can't fucking get to it if I don't know where it is.
Hmm.
No one could give me any information. I could cancel my appointment, but I couldn't find out where it fucking was. That
Yeah.
was how, like, it was stressful. Um anyway, I made it to the appointment miraculously. The letter got delivered because of all the postal strikes, so it got delivered.
Oh, it got held
um
up. Yeah.
yeah, like on the day or
Hmm.
something, and I was like, fuck, and it was all fine. But then I had the appointment, and then they were like, oh yeah, you've got a 6 centimeter ovarian cyst. Um, which, I mean, they were like, oh yeah, when it gets to this size, it normally just keeps growing. So if it's 5 centimeters or above, we recommend like surgery normally for it to be
Okay.
removed. Um, and it's like, okay, cool, whatever. And they were like, oh yeah, the I said, what, what happens in the meantime? Because I was like, if it needs surgery, I'm presuming
Yeah.
that's going to take some fucking time. Because the waiting list. And they were like, well, it can either rupture, which would be incredibly painful,
Hmm.
um, or it could go away by itself, which I'm a bit confused by.
Okay, so what about the
What
surgery?
So, well, this is the thing then. So they were like, okay, well, like, you'll get referred to gynecology, and they'll like then do an MRI scan to make sure it's not anything like more sinister, blah blah blah. And then I get a letter from the fucking gynecology department. Oh, I spoke to my GP as well. And she was just like, yeah, you'll get a letter at some point. She didn't really add any information because the nurse was quite helpful. Anyway, get this fucking letter. Guess when my like consultation is for for the MRI scan and all of that lot. Like this is before the scans, just to like
That's
first
gonna be really
guess.
inappropriate. So I'm gonna say March.
May. End of May. So
Well, let's hope it doesn't
like
rupture.
yeah, or like great, because I've seen these girls who've got like 20-meter cysts in them and they look pregnant, like. And you think the thing is, it's like, okay, obviously from an aesthetic side, like from it, that's not going to feel great if people are coming up and like, are you pregnant? Like that's not going to feel great. But the bigger thing is if something is that big and it ruptures, fuck me, fuck me, no thank you. Yeah. And then yeah, I've had loads of random pain since, so I don't know what's going on there, but that's fun. Sharing is caring, right?
If anyone ever doubts how much I care about you, the fact that my face goes from like quite jokey to you saying that and me being like, what? No.
Oh, it's not
genuine
like,
concern is right. I'm like, what?
Like it will be fine. It's not like it's not anything long term, you know, like it will get sorted, but it was just like I think I got annoyed because it's like, okay, so in the meantime, they're just gonna give me and if it ruptures, do you know what fucking happens? They say, okay, if you get a fever and stuff to go to A&E, if you're like throwing up and have a fever, but all they do is they basically scan to make sure like you're not internally like bleeding or like nothing has damaged you. But they just send you home with fucking painkillers. Like I'm guessing they'll say, "Oh, go get some like Cocomo over the counter or something." And it's like, "Go home, bye." Like what? What? Yeah. So that's fun.
This is part of the only without trying to be too political. I'm trying to be a good person. Trying to be well behaved. But the problem, the big thing is that because it's got so messed up by all like every time politicians come in, they change bits of the NHS and like try and add things and take things away, and so it's like this group of things that are technically one thing but kind of aren't also. So the NHS is kind of fucked, and that's thanks to years worth of political failure.
Legit.
So I feel your pain. But again, I am very grateful that we don't have to pay for it, so there you go. Anyway.
Yeah, it's difficult because it's like, oh yeah, it's amazing that I don't have to pay for it. Well, I wouldn't be able to afford to pay for it, so that's good. I'm not going to be living in fear of debt of a student loan and healthcare. But then as a result, it then means, you know, waiting. I had to wait a year and a half for an allergy test, which meant that I kept having to go to A&E to get steroids. Because they like, and the allergy test probably cost a couple of £100 or something, like, you know, and you just like, and me going to A&E and being treated by emergency services for fucking no reason was so avoidable, and it probably cost the NHS more money. It's just so frustrating. Yeah, it's complicated.
So fuck the Tories. That's my thing. That's just me this week.
Should we move on to the music
Let's
section?
move on to the music section. Let's do it. And
before our brains implode,
will hit you up with. Let's start. Okay, I'm intrigued to understand why this one's in there. So this is "Shut Down" by Blackpink. Tell me.
I just find this like empowering, and to be honest, it came up on my like recommended, like what they thought I'd like on Spotify. I don't know if it was on like a daily mix or something, or if it was my recent releases. I can't remember. But the violin at the start, hooked me.
Yeah.
I can't lie. Like, as soon as I heard it, I was like, yeah, like, saving that shit. I genuinely, it's just like, you've got the bass that's sort of keeping the whole song moving forward, and it's just empowering. You know, you have like your sassy walk songs, that, you know, that you strut down the street to, and you think, oh, I'm owning my life right now. I'm girl bossing. Like, that's just what this song gives me. And then, you know, you got a little bit of pizzicato coming in near the end and stuff. I don't know. Like, it's just tickling lots of aspects of my taste, I guess. Yeah. Like, what were your thoughts? Because this is probably the one that's most out of your like range, like listen wise.
Well, so when I went to uni, someone I live with, Erin, who I actually ended up living with in second year as well.
Yes.
Very lovely person. Very lovely person. Really love K-pop. And
yes, she did.
Before I went to uni, I'd never really listened to much. My sister tried to show me some. I've been like, I was like, oh, I'm too cool for that.
I don't get it. Yeah.
And when I went, I find it, and I actually really vibe with it. I really vibe with it. It's really fun to listen to a lot of the time because it's just fresh. A lot of it is very like refreshing because when you just stick within like British pop, whatever, you can kind of get a bit
pigeonholed.
You do, and it's like a lot of times you hear things like, "Oh, this sounds good," but does this sound good because it just sounds like this?
Yeah.
It's
ticking all the boxes.
Yeah. Pigeon, could you take a rest?
Just let Pierce come in. I'm just gonna open the door so they can go find your dad.
I'm making an intelligent point.
Where's your dad? Where's your dad? Bye.
Making an intelligent point. Bye, Pierce. See you later. Fuck off. Bye. Ay. Anyway.
Sorry, you were saying.
I really like K-pop. Anyway, I really vibe with it. I find it very fun to listen to. It does tickle like a part of my brain that I don't often get to do. I enjoy like the things that they do often with melody and things, and the kind of backing track, all of this stuff. I find it really fun to listen to. So I was like, oh, a little bit of K-pop. Nice. I'm excited.
There's lots of like sound bites and stuff like that in it, which I think just makes it very like rich.
And I think the thing is that everyone, it's something I thought initially. I think I was like, oh, K-pop's just for like teenage girls and things, and it's not for me. Actually, if I went back to my past stuff, and I'd be like, you're an idiot, because that's not true at all. Actually, it can be quite fun to listen to, and it's not like there is some great music that like, and the thing is, because you don't necessarily, because like a lot of time they like fuse English and Korean, you don't understand maybe half the song, maybe 75% of the song, so a lot of it comes down to these bits that you understand, and the rest of it is just how it makes you feel, right?
Yes, and that is what I like, because you're not actually engaging with any lyrics. It's definitely just the like sort of instrumental, like I don't know, the attitude of the instrumentation.
And like 90%, 80, 70% of whatever, I don't know, of the song, I have no idea what they're saying because I don't understand Korean. So I don't, but I know from the vibe, from the feel, from everything that I know that this has got to be about like fucking, standing up, being empowered, being like, fuck you, I'm living my life and I'm fine, and like, you can't compare to me, you can't be me. All that kind of stuff. I get that, and I don't need to understand and analyze lyrics to know that that's what's happening.
Yeah, like before we did the podcast, I suddenly thought I probably should have checked the lyrics out, because like this could be about anything, and I'm there like bopping along, and I thought, well, actually, that might not be the best.
No, I mean, I actually looked up a bit of a translation thing, and to be honest, that's exactly it. Like, It's about them.
Awesome.
They were on
Okay.
a hiatus for a while, and everyone was kind of like, "Oh, they're kind of finished. They'll never be able to come back from this. Like, they're not gonna if they're finished now because they took time away." Um, and it's like that thing of like if you don't release music, everyone's like, "Oh, they're old news now," and they've come back and they're
Yeah.
like, "No, we're still here. Fuck you. Fuck the haters. We're carrying on. You thought we were finished. We're just as good as we were, if not better." Like, so it's exactly what you thought, and you don't need to understand it. You just feel that. You feel
Yeah.
that, like that shit of like, "Fuck you, we're great," and that's what I always love. Like, you can just feel it, and you just know instinctively that that's what it is, and you get the vibe in it. You feel it, and that's really good. And also, a side note is that the violin at the start is a sample of, I'm going to say it wrong, Paganini. I've never known how to say his name.
Oh.
1826, popular violin melody La
Yeah,
Campanella.
yeah. Oh, I should have known that.
They do that a lot actually in K-pop. I've noticed like using samples of like Western kind of classical things.
I might sound like an idiot, but I think it's Pagnini. Like I don't.
Maybe you're right. I don't know. I genuinely have never known. Um,
It's so difficult because I call the dog Pagnini as a joke, like because of the composer. So now I'm like second guessing myself if
no, no.
I've just made it sound like Pagnini because I call the dog Pagnini.
I have never known how, and I've never known how to say it. And it's one of those things that you don't, because you've never actually
We've
had to say
literally
it,
played.
because I've never had to actually say it myself. I've only ever said it in my head. That's the first time I ever said it out loud. And I've suddenly gone, I don't know.
We've played Pagnini in string quartet.
Yeah,
I I can't
that's it.
remember what piece,
That's what's
but
crazy
we
about it.
yeah,
But I
so
can't do it.
funny.
Anyway, I fucking love it.
Um,
I was very excited when I saw you put some K-pop in there, and I was like, you know what? Good. Sometimes it's nice to like step outside your comfort zone a bit like that.
yeah, for sure.
So I was hella excited, and it was really fun to listen to actually. So thank you.
Can can I hit you up with "Got Weird" by Dodie?
Yes, let's go. I
Because
fucking love this.
this surprised me when I was like, oh, we're getting some queer sort. Like I was happy because like I feel like it's normally me puts the queer tracks in.
I
Um,
I was really trying to like I was desperately trying to find. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go. Say what you were saying.
no, 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 no,
No,
no.
no, no. I feel
That,
bad.
I'm not, I pretty much finished my point. I think I was just saying like I was really impressed that you'd put in like a queer song, and I know Dodie quite well. I mean,
Mm,
she used to be a YouTuber and
mm,
play little songs on the ukulele and stuff. So
mm.
when I saw this, I hadn't actually heard this song. I was like, oh, I'm so proud.
I spent as this has kind of gone. So like previously, I still do. I like just share new music as it comes up, and I don't really think too much about um who it is or things or whether the person is big or not. And
Yeah.
I think as we've gone on through the podcast, I've tried to find more. Like I want to share. I try and normally do at least something like something that it doesn't really matter whether they're big or not. Like just
Mm.
something like it, yeah, like, almost like it's fine. So that can be like, let's say Coldplay released a new song. One of them could be a Coldplay song, and then one
Yeah.
of them I want to be from someone who has not a lot of monthly listeners at the moment. At the moment, that's the thing. Like
Yeah.
they'll obviously grow, and that's what you.
Yeah.
But like someone who you can kind of like discover, genuinely discover. And then I try and
Yeah.
find, and I was like, I want to find one as well that like has like a female voice in it or a queer kind of voice or something like that. Something that really like, um, I don't know, just to kind of give that different voice. So I really tried to work hard, and I had some songs. I had lots of songs actually to pick from, and I was like, I don't know what to go for. Let's go for. And then I heard this song, and I went,
Mm.
that's in. That has to be in because this is amazing. Um, so
It's
yes.
funky as well. Like it's different to what I was expecting.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of who it sort of reminds me of, but it's like spoken word,
Hmm.
but with this sort of groove to it, and
Hmm.
it's just like it's
It's a
fun.
little bit Billy for
I've
me, you know, like it's a little bit.
yeah,
It's got that kind of like
I
this like
get that.
whispered like spoken word kind of thing.
But then everything's like sort of overly pronounced as
Hmm.
well. Like, what's your little lyrical analysis? Because I'm presuming you've got one here.
Oh, I do. Oh, I do. I absolutely do. So
I've
I
got the
actually I
lyrics up.
looked up a little bit of an interview. I was just like reading some stuff on it, and I kind of have been a bit confused listening to it. I was like, I understand that this has something to do with like bisexuality at its core. There's
Yeah,
something in it, but I couldn't place it. And I read this thing, and so the story behind it was that she had been on a weird date, like a pretty weird date, and afterwards like wrote this song because it just kind of came out, and it was the whole feeling of internalized kind of biphobia, I think is how she explained it, and like
right.
the feeling of um struggling to understand and comprehend like dating a girl as a girl,
Mm,
like when you've also dated men, and it's a very weird thing. And so
yeah,
you get these lines in here that are like I played the man and you bought it, like and it, like I think someone pointed out online that how it kind of relates to that thing of when you have two women in a relationship
who's the
and
man?
there are exactly who's the man who wears the trousers, and it's like, why are you doing that? Why are you forcing a like heterosexual norm or whatever expectation onto this relationship when it's not? No one has to be the man. It's like I always say with dancing things, when they did a same-sex couple on Strictly Come Dancing, whatever, on TV, everyone
Yeah,
was like, "Well, how's that going to work?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" It's like, "Well, who's going to be the man?" I was like, "No, that's not the word, though, is it? What you're saying is
no,
who's going to lead the dance, like,
yeah,
and that doesn't have to be a man. In an opposite sex couple, it could be the woman who's leading it. Like, it doesn't have to be the man. That's not actually a necessity. It seems to be how it's gone, and maybe that's years worth of societal like things. It doesn't have to be like that. So like it's the same
yeah.
thing. It's like something of growing up in the society we do is that you see it through a lens of, okay, so I'll be the man in this relationship, whatever. Um, and it's like it got weird because like she's kissing a girl, but she is a girl, and it's like confusing and very like strange and bizarre and doesn't make sense. And even in the bridge, was it? No one told me, of course I stumbled, where's the reference? And it's like, because you only normally, in the past, see these relationships through a heterosexual lens of there is a man and there is a woman, and this is like, for queer women, non binary, and like all of this kind of, it becomes difficult because it's like, I don't know how this works because I'm trying to place a man and
Yeah.
a woman over this, and I can't do that, and it's not working, so it feels weird and you overreact and you don't know what to do because it doesn't ever really fit that norm that you have in your mind. So I
Do you
fucking love that about the song, that it really explores that feeling of being a queer woman in it trying to like date another woman but not really understanding it. It's like I think a lot of people could relate to that.
yeah, for sure. I think like the internalized homophobia, homophobia as well. Like, I think it takes a long time to undo that, to
Yeah,
really
I think that's
be like
probably true.
self-critical.
And I think as well,
Yeah,
this week was National Coming Out Week. National Coming Out Day was this week, I believe.
yeah,
So it seemed like quite
yeah,
appropriate to talk about this song. And aside from the fact that the lyrics are like fucking wonderful, you know, like queer, LGBT plus, yes, we love it. Also it is a very funky and like it. I really it wasn't. It's not what I expected. When I think of Dodie, I don't think
no,
of this,
no,
and
yeah.
I
This is
love it.
very
It's so different and
modern
fresh and like I love it. I love it.
Agreed.
Absolute banger of a song. I'm still unclear about how we define a banger versus a bop versus a whatever else.
I know. I think I would say like a banger is when something's got a bit of a bass, like a bit of a grunge to it.
Okay, in that
And
case I
then like
don't
a
want that.
bop, whereas bop is more like of a poppy side. I'd say
I
like
don't want
a
that either.
vibe.
A vibe.
I'd say a vibe.
A
Yeah.
vibe. There you go. This is a vibe, and I really do vibe with it. Great song. Fucking brilliant.
Do you want to hit me up?
Can you tell I love that song?
It's great.
Good.
Like,
It's good.
I'm
Sorry, I
so
really went
glad
into the
that
lyric
we.
side of things there.
No. I'm glad. Like, I'm also think it's good that we've we've been able to see sort of Dodie go from this sort of like quiet. I didn't actually watch her when she's a YouTuber, but like this sort of quiet person, you've got to experience her coming out like as she's grown as well. Like she must be in her late 20s, I'm presuming, or something. And it's just like a nice. I'll have a look. It's nice to sort of share that with her, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you were to watch the music video for some of them, you'd be like, "What the hell? Who is this? This isn't the person we know." But like, I feel like she still does some YouTube stuff as well. But don't hold me to that because now I'm doubting myself.
I was so confused for a second. I saw in the like little Wikipedia bio it said instruments, vocal, baritone, ukulele. I was like, what? She sings baritone? What? When? How? Who? And then I realized it meant baritone ukulele. I was like, oh, I just like fuck me.
That's great.
Impressive. Yeah, what song do you want to chat about next?
Let's talk. It feels like it's appropriate. Let's talk about "I Really Fucked It Up" by Girly.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd like while we're on the queer side of things. Like I thought that'd be good. So Girly, I think I would have put into one of the playlists before.
I think
More
we've
than a
spoken
friend.
about maybe once or twice now.
Yes, and maybe I don't like. Yeah, I fucking love Girly. Like, they're coming out with so many bangers. Like, and I would say bangers. That's the my definition of a banger.
I can agree with that.
They've like come out. Oh, it pretty quickly. Like there's not been a huge gap between each of these releases.
Say, yeah.
I think they're doing. Oh, I don't know. Okay, 2021. So they had an album out in 2019. Hot mess. Sorry. Oh, okay, but like that's a lot of music in a very short amount of time. So this song has been great because of my intrusive thoughts that like fuck you, you're a fucking idiot, fuck my life, fuck this. Perfect. This song is just like a description of that. Do you not like, would you relate on that level?
I absolutely do. I like the kind of like, because I definitely relate to that, like, you know, why am I like the amount of times you look
like
back
this?
at
Yeah.
something you've done like that day, whatever, and you're like, fucking hell, why did I do that again? And like in the moment you don't understand what's, you know, maybe you don't really get what you've done wrong, or like, you know, but then when you actually think more about it, you're like, oh fucking hell, you know, like what a dumbass kind of thing. You really reflect on, and like, and B, it's that guilt as well, right? Is that like, it's like this confusing thing if you feel guilty for being angry at yourself for being human.
Yeah.
And you feel guilty because what you've done might have been wrong in some way. And then you're angry again because you're feeling guilty, and then you're guilty because you're feeling angry, and then you're angry again, and then you're like, what the hell? And it's the intrusive thoughts building up.
And you can understand that it's irrational, you beating yourself up, like it's not a productive thing to do, but you can't help it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not rational. You know it's not rational. Of course it is. But you can't. it doesn't matter whether it's rational or not in that moment, because no one really goes around like, sometimes your emotions get the better of you. It's part of being
Yeah.
human that sometimes your emotions get the better of you. Your emotions are normally the first thing to react, and reason is always playing catch up, trying to like moderate that. But your first reaction is usually emotional. Um, so yeah, later on you reflect on, you're like, why did you beat yourself up about that? Come on, let's like be kinder. But in the moment, you're like, you fucking dumbass. Why the shit did you do that? I feel it. I feel it. Um,
Yeah.
and I like that it's owning. In this case, it's like owning the fuck up kind of
Yes,
thing.
and that's the thing that I like. You, if I'm in that headspace where I'm like, fuck my life, and I listen to this song, I'm like, okay, we're moving past it.
Mm,
Like we're feeling positive.
mm.
We're getting on with it. It's not. I'm not the only person who's felt like this, and it's something that'll pass. You know.
Mm. I think that's true. It does. That's what you need to. One of the best things you can hear sometimes is that someone else feels the same way you do about something. Someone else reacted the same way as you did, because it somewhat validates, at least in the moment, like the initial emotional reaction that you have. Yeah, it's probably a little bit overblown actually, and actually when you think about it, it might not be as bad as it first seems. But when someone else tells you, "No, I understand that feeling," you feel a bit like, "Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not crazy." Like, maybe that wasn't the right reaction, but at least I'm not crazy because someone else understands how my brain went that way. And you feel just
Yeah.
like a little bit more sane, because it's so easy to feel completely fucking crazy. You feel completely insane when you like think about what's going on inside your own head. And you're like, do you think anyone else has these thoughts? No one does. No
But
one can think like this. And when someone tells you that they do, it just makes you feel a bit more like, okay, at least I'm not alone.
I I know for me, like when I forgot the dog's vet appointment, I was the one who booked it. Like it was on, like Piers knew about it and the others knew about it because it's in our like shared diary.
Hmm.
But like I was so annoyed that I'd forgotten, and it was all fine. Like he had his appointment, everything was okay. I was only a little bit late. It's fine, but because I'd forgotten, I was just sat there like you're a fucking idiot. Like why? How could you forget that? It's important. It's expensive. You're a fucking idiot. Why?
But that's really
And I was just
unfair, isn't it?
like, yeah, it's like shit happens. Like the thing was, I think I thought like I wasn't busy. Like I didn't have anything else on like that day.
Hmm.
How could I forget? Um, and I think I'd just been so stressed about a few other things. It slipped my mind, and I don't know. I just didn't give myself a break with it for a few days. It's like what a fucking idiot. And I was
Hmm.
like, I forgot an appointment,
Hmm.
and it was okay. The world didn't end. The
Hmm.
dog's teeth are clean. Um, why am I bullying myself?
I've
Like
done
if
it with
I,
people, and I've forgotten birthdays. And I have beaten myself up so much for it, because it's like, how did you forget that? That's your friend. That's someone you care about. How did you forget their birthday?
yeah,
And to be fair, it's like, because you have so much that you're trying to hold on to at any given moment. Because your brain is like, part of the world that we live in is that you do get constant updates on what's going on in Ukraine and what's going on in your own country and things that are happening in your city. And you do get updates on the people that you love and their lives and their struggles and their successes, and whether or not you bought milk today, or whether or not you need bread, or whether you have anything at home for dinner, or what you're going to have for lunch, or whether the car needs an MOT, or did you get taxed, did you insure this stuff, all of this stuff, right, is in your head and you're thinking about it. And we have so much that we're trying to hold on to. It's impossible for some of it not to slip at some point, right?
yeah,
Like, it's like trying to catch water in your hands. You might catch a lot of it, but you can't stop all that water somehow getting through, because it's just, you can't. You could hold your hands really tight together and water still finds a way through. It's like
yeah,
that. You're trying to do that with your brain. You have to be kind and go, I forgot. I forgot. it happened, and okay, it wasn't great, but also here's the thing: I got to the appointment anyway, slightly late, but it was okay, and everything is fine, and they got the treatment, and it's okay. So why beat yourself up for having initially forgotten it when actually you caught it? You know,
Yeah.
you got it. You got back. You took Pippin to the appointment. It's fine. So
Yeah.
that's the thing that we struggle a lot with. I think we all try and we put this expectation that we should be able to do everything, and no one ever thinks
Yeah.
about the fact that actually, why should you? Yes, maybe if you lived in the caveman era, as you like to say sometimes, where your biggest worry was, where be mammoth, I need eat. Kill mammoth, I eat. Fine. Like, yeah, it would be weird for you to forget something at that point, because there was nothing like what we live with. It's a different world. Our brains are being asked to deal with more stuff all the time. To remember the password for a website you used once 2 years ago. What's your password? I don't know. I don't remember that. Why don't you remember it? Well, because it's unrealistic to try and remember that. I'm really going for
Yeah.
some weird thing here, but what I'm trying to say is
No. I
being kind to yourself.
totally.
I'm gonna stop. You know what? Go. Tell me
Yeah,
about
it was.
something.
Oh, okay. So, man-made sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
Life's gonna kill you. I'm guessing it says if you let it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, is that actually what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm confused by this because it really sounds like the singer from Nothing But Thieves,
Yes.
Connor. I can't remember his last name.
Yes. Exactly that. I
And
was
when I
gonna say
clicked
exactly
on
the same thing.
the cover, kind of looks like him. Am I wrong? Like, it just gave me that vibe.
Mm.
I don't know. Like, it really got me, and it's like an acoustic Nothing But Thieves, which I love Nothing But Thieves. We love Nothing But Thieves. Oh, so good. Connor, his voice is just one. I think he's got one of the best voices of like our generation, like our lifetime. I would say, like, it's just phenomenal. And he's a small guy as well with a massive voice. It's a bit like Brendan Urie. Yeah. I get mixed up with Ollie Sykes and Brendan Urie, which is fuck me. Why can't I speak? Yeah, like from Panic at the Disco, with all the voice acrobatics and whistle tone and all that, and he's he's quite a petite guy. I just find it amazing. Anyway, back to this song. It's great. It's like this is gonna sound really weird. It makes me think of like self-care and like having a bubble bath and like it's like a soothing, relaxing experience. Do you get?
I do get you.
Say?
I'm trying to behave myself and not do what I could sense I'd lost you in my last thing, and I was like, fucking behave. But anyway, let me tell you. So, Man-Made Sunshine is the side project from Connor Mason from Nothing But Thieves. And I've only just looked that up, which is why we both thought it sounded like Nothing But Thieves, because it is the guy from Nothing But Thieves.
I'm so proud of myself.
I spent this whole time like, that really does sound like Nothing But Thieves, doesn't it? That's so strange. Yes, it's him. And it says, so he apparently in lockdown had this side project.
Yeah, he had his own little studio and he was doing the production. I saw these videos. I didn't know he was doing
suddenly it's like finally putting the pieces together. So
I love him.
He did this thing. It was like, the project's about inner growth, about trying to find. So he said, I headed into some heavy places to find healing from loss and focus on thoughts and feelings around death, griefs of others, and my old self. And it's that kind of more emotional, personal thing, separate from Nothing But Thieves. But he's not stopped doing Nothing But Thieves. It's his own little side project, which I love. And it's weird. I think not really actually putting the two together and thinking about the fact that this is Connor from Nothing But Thieves. I just kind of didn't. I judged it in its own way, which is kind of useful.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah.
And I 100% am with you. It's that thing of like you said, it's like, I won't let you get ill. I won't let you give in because this life will only kill you if you let it. And I'm like, I feel that feeling of like, remembering that actually, even when things are really tough, even when things are so very difficult, it's like trying to find the self-care and trying to remind yourself, no, it's okay, it's fine. It's okay that, your front tooth's chipped slightly, so your smile looks a bit strange. That's fine. It's you. It's part of who you are. And all of this stuff, you have to. It's fine. Everything. It's just such a reassuring thing. With that self-love thing in there of trying to be kind to yourself and and support yourself and being like, actually, you don't have to. What am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that sometimes your brain can lead you down a path of thinking that the only way out of the situation you're in is to do something quite dark and very permanent. And I feel like this song is like the antidote to that. It's a bit like, no, it's okay. We can pull you back from that. You don't like. There is another way. There's an alternative. Let's try this, and it's like a nice, sweet antidote to that feeling that I know I have sometimes of like thinking there's only one thing to do here, and it's very permanent, and there's no coming back from it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that only happens if you let it, and we don't have to let it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very
Sorry, I kept saying yeah, and I was like, oh god, I said.
I feel like you panicked when I said, "What am I trying to say?" And you were like, I really like it.
Like, I got the gist of what you were saying. It was just putting it into words. There was the moment of panic, and then it took a darker twist, and I was like, oh.
It did, but I think what I'm trying to almost think about is that it's like, no, like that's the thing that I always remember is that there are these people who are there for me. There are these things that are here in my life. There are this, that, and the other. And so I was like, no, I don't care that my brain is telling me that right now.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing that,
Yeah.
It's like that. It's that thing.
For sure.
You really don't know how to react, do you? You've got no idea how to react to what I've just said.
No, because like when we're in sort of like deep mode, I can sort of adjust to that. Because we're in music mode, I'm like, I'm gonna say something inappropriate, and it's gonna sound like, again, if it ends up on a YouTube
what
short,
you did was say for sure.
For sure. I'm gonna be exposed on a YouTube short as being a terrible, like, inconsiderate friend.
No, you're not. No, that's just what it does in my brain. That's why I could relate to it. But the song itself is very beautiful, and it's interesting to hear.
It is beautiful.
Like, in
that
this
is a good
kind
way of describing
like
it.
Separate project, something different, something like more personal and less, not angry, but like, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, less like rocky. Like, it's not a banger. It's not a banger.
No,
it's
close.
Kind of a vibe.
It's like a depresso espresso vibe.
It is, but it also is like it's like a hug.
A hug, yes.
It's like a really
like
warm
a sad hug that you need.
It's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Things are gonna be okay. And that's nice.
Okay. Right.
You're still not happy with it, I can tell. Trying my best here for you.
I'm happy. I'm just aware that like time is moving forward and you're gonna have a lot of editing to do.
Time does pass.
My brain is disengaging.
Well, that's useful because the next song is Disengaged by Kieran Rhodes. So how funny that was that. Look at you. Right. Next time, why don't you just say the name of it?
Is that smooth? Did you
It was
like
very
that?
smooth. It was very smooth. I enjoyed it a
The
lot.
worst thing was that was naturally what came to my mind, and I was like, oh, well,
Well,
that's
this has worked
convenient.
out rather well, hasn't it?
Oh, this song. Okay, so we've mentioned Cody Fry on here
Yes.
before, who Nathaniel recommended to
Mm,
us. Fucking love Cody Fry now.
mm,
Nathaniel had recommended like Cody Fry for a while, and it
mm.
took me a bit of
Same.
time.
Same.
And then I was like, oh my god, this is great.
The
And
annoying thing
Kieran
is that
Rhodes,
then you have to begrudgingly admit, okay, well, you were right. I should have
you're
listened.
fucking right.
Bastard.
Yeah. And Kieran Rhodes is like the sort of I don't know, like parallel. Like
Mm,
he's very he belongs to the same genre, and it's quite a niche
absolutely.
genre of sort of orchestral singer songwriter, not musical theatre, but like how would you describe like pop mixed with orchestra, like singer songwriter? I feel like that gives you a pretty good
It
idea.
is. I mean,
This guy as well he's 20 years old.
fuck off.
He
He's
went
not
to
20 years old.
yeah.
No. No, I
Um,
refuse to accept.
how crazy is that? And he went to Berkeley, so
Well, you can fuck off then.
he's a smart guy.
Bastard.
Um, yeah, I fell across him in such a random way. Like I saw a video, I think, of him performing. I want to say America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
America's Got Talent. Um, and I don't, because I know with America's Got Talent, Britain's Got Talent, like a lot of these contests, like they're incredibly rigged and not fair. They try and show the best and the worst of
Alright, well,
people,
that's going to
and
set Simon Cowell on. That's brilliant.
yeah, I just think like it could be such an incredible way to give people opportunities, and it's corrupt, which I mean, of course it is,
Oh, now
but
you're accusing him of corruption. Right, well, I'll just get a legal team, shall I? Jesus.
right, well, but
Why did you do
Evie used to do it. I realised that's right. I've got it in my head. Evie used to do it when I lived with her. Right, like good thing would go wrong. Yeah, and I saw this clip and I was like, oh, here we go. It's like America's Got Talent, and I'm not like people who are on these contests are obviously incredibly talented, um, and I like, but because of the sort of problems surrounding the shows, I don't typically watch those videos. Anyway, I saw. Are you just like we're getting sued? We're getting sued.
We're not
Are
even
you?
going to get seen. I just find it hilarious that you're like the problems. It's a good, safe word. Well done. Excellent.
Yeah.
Tick.
Like I don't know, it put me off watching those videos, but for some reason I watched it. And I was like, oh fuck, this is great.
Hmm.
I like this.
Hmm.
And I didn't even finish watching the video before I was like, Spotify, and thank God, like there he was. And I cannot lie, for the last few weeks, this is my go-to. Like I fucking love it. It just soothed me. Like that's my word of the week. Soothes.
Soothes.
I've listened to it in the car. I've listened to it in the bedroom. Like I just, it makes me at peace. I just fucking I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's my take.
No, I have to agree. And I was looking at his bio here, and it says, if you mixed Elton John's melodies with Randy Newman's Whitfield lyrics and Chris Martin's silky vocals and then put them on a baseball diamond, you'd get Kieran Rhodes. And I was like, well, you hooked me in that.
Tick, tick.
But it's such
I see that Randy Newman, Chris Martin.
Yeah. It is. It's got all of those bits in there, and it does. When I listened to it initially, I was like, "Is this Cody Fry? No, this isn't Cody Fry." But it was like,
I know, yeah.
It had that same energy to it, like you said, and I really do think it's quite. Like if I was gonna to have this followed up by the last one, Man Made Sunshine, it's like So like you have that one which is like a hug, and then you have this one which is like soothing, you know? Like you find some kind of peace and you're like, oh, okay. And I know exactly what you mean, because I was listening to it and I felt quite tense when I was listening to it because I was doing something. And I couldn't help but just kind of like relax a little bit. Like I felt this
I
kind of
think it
tension
allows
in my
you to be
shoulders.
with your thoughts.
Exactly. And it just like, it calmed my mind a little bit. And I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. And it's soothing is exactly the one. Like, the days are getting colder and shorter. And this is like the warm blanket that someone puts around you in case. We got you. Take it easy.
I think
Don't get
it's
sued.
weird because his voice sounds like young, but then it's very bassy as well. There is like a very like nurturing is going to sound like a really weird word, but it just jumped to my brain like a nurturing sound.
Look, I'm just look. These people, you know who you are. You know who you are. Stop being good. Thank you.
Stop being talented.
I
No, because I need their songs.
compete with this. Okay, I'm trying my best here, but I got nothing. I'm with Dodie getting weird. No, that's not the sentence. No, no, no.
I mean, I could imagine you being quite a vibe. Why is that?
What, me and Dodie? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, let's just move on before I say anything else.
She's cute.
Can't believe I just said that. I don't even know what to do with it now. Do I leave that in? Do we leave that in? Do I edit it out and hope it never... I'm going to have to leave it in.
You could leave it in, but I feel like there'll be some weirdo like...
She'd never get with you. You're just a guy and you should lose weight by taking insomnia medication. Thanks, bro.
Oh. Right.
This clip has no content and no context, and it's a nothing burger. It's a complete waste of data and time, and I can't believe you released it. That's my impression of him.
Moving on. The last, that is hilarious though. I do appreciate. Forever is too long. Low Island. So I kind of wanted to leave this till last. Words. Because...
You can't use words. Who even are you? This is convenient. I'm sorry.
You're gonna just end up being my brain.
I refuse. I'm gonna be
It's gonna be like, my brain's gonna be like reverbing now.
Yeah, it really is.
So Forever is Too Long, Low Island. Low Island, I think, was it the last podcast or the podcast before, discussed?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We had one of the other... What song was it?
Perhaps we did.
I've got two liked songs. Feel Young Again and Searchbox. Wait,
those were a while ago.
Wait, they were in January
Searchbox
2021.
was one of the first songs I talked about on the podcast. Maybe second episode.
Yeah, and then I added Feel Young Again in January 31st, 2021. I felt like there was another song. Am I going crazy? Maybe I'm going crazy.
You are going crazy, but that's unrelated.
Okay.
That's alright. Yeah, yes. I love you anyway.
Mental blip.
If that helps, I love you anyway.
I'm now really thrown. You're gonna have to take the lead.
Oh, shit. Fuck. Wow, this is gonna be a disaster. Okay. So, yes, I was thinking of the fact that we were close to episode 50, and I was like, oh, I remember speaking about Low Island in one of our first episodes. I'm going to talk about them again. And are you alright though?
Yeah, no, I was just laughing at myself being an idiot.
No, well, you know, you're a lovely person, not an idiot.
Thanks.
I like this. I think all of my songs this week have been not really. None of them are bangers, if we're using the terminology. They're all like...
That sounds like a negative thing, but in the context of like what we've listed, vibes, bangers, and bops.
Right? Don't take me out of context. I won't have it happen. They're very... Yes, exactly that. They are... like more of a vibe kind of thing, more of a book kind of. They're like more
Yes.
restrained, but also quite. I think they all kind of like are quite personal. I think in a way, and they all kind of they're very emotional, but like in their own kind of like calm, quiet, under kind of stated way. And this was another one I listened to, and I thought it was like a kind of quite a pretty song. I love his voice. I find it's very like it is because it's in
That's
that
like,
higher range where like
yeah.
it doesn't necessarily like for me I'd be like why are we up here, but like it sounds so effortless, so easy, and it's just such a I think it is a really beautiful voice, and I really loved in the chorus there's this bit I always knew you'd see me through these ups and downs, your love was true. And I'm like, that's just such a sweet romantic line. You know, that's just such a
It's
kind of
cute.
like lovely thing. It's just it's not sexual, it's not really like got a deep thing other than just someone saying you stood by me in some really tough shit and you had my back and that was great. And I think that's a really beautiful feeling.
Definitely. I think like the other thing I like about the track is you've got this sort of electronic drum kit going through it, and it's just so sharp, but like it just sort of holds that. It's very, I don't know if lo-fi is the right word to use. It's very soft. Like the whole thing is soft, and obviously I mentioned the guy's vocals remind me a bit of Everything Everything. It is a little bit like in a similar way to us mentioning Nothing But Thieves, and it turned out obviously it was Connor's side. Connor, I'm on a first name basis.
Yeah, we're on a first name basis, so yeah. It's like Jordan.
Like, yeah, Jordan, good old
my guy.
What was I saying? Words.
I should never have interrupted you. I knew it was a mistake. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it was similar. So similar in the way to Nothing But Thieves, acoustic, like the other track. What's the fucking
Man-made,
it's all gone wrong.
Man-made sunshine.
Oh my god, man-made. Life's Gonna Kill You If You Let It. That one. This is a little bit like the acoustic version of not Nothing But Thieves. Fuck me, Everything Everything. My brain. So if you like Everything Everything, but you want something more chill to listen to, I would say that was fucked. That whole thing was fucked. I'm gonna blame you. I'm gonna blame you.
That was like somewhere there's someone trying to get blood out of a stone, and they're having more luck than you were with that sentence.
Yeah. The worst thing is, like, it was so clear in my brain. It was going from my brain to my mouth. I couldn't get it out.
It was going really well until I interrupted you. I'm sorry. I feel like I threw you off at that moment, and you just like.
That's so funny.
You didn't recover from it. Look, I agree. I think it is. Soft is the word I would use for all of mine this week. Of like.
Yeah.
It is quite, and then you come in. It's more of a. There's more energy.
It's a bit of a contrast.
I like that.
I would say like Disengaged is quite soft.
Yeah.
But then the other two, I really fucked it up, and Shut Down are. I think it sort of goes in order of in a weird way. So our playlist starts off as Forever Is Too Long by Low Island, Life's Gonna Kill You If You Let It by Man-Made Sunshine, Got Weird by Dodie, Disengaged, Kieran Rhodes, I Really Fucked Up, Girly, and Shut Down by Blackpink. Like, I definitely feel like that is in the order of it getting more and more...
Bit of a journey.
Intense, yeah. And going from sort of vibes to bangers, you know?
Vibes to bangers.
Oi, oi.
Oi, oi, yeah. We're still doing that, are we?
Internal monologue.
Oh my god.
Right.
Well, look.
I think it's because we hit the... we're on 2 hours, 24 minutes.
Don't out us like this. Oh.
So I feel like I have a valid excuse for
Yes,
my
and
brain
to be
going
fair, it is
mushy.
because I kept going off on weird, in-depth tangents.
No, and me. I was taking time.
Well, I did do a whole bit on the NHS, so I mean, I'm not really forgiving myself for that one. Anyway, this is episode 49, so next episode is episode 50, which is very awesome. And I just wanted to say,
hopefully we'll be organised with it.
That I am very grateful to everyone for listening so far and being wonderful. And I'm very grateful for one of my very best friends, Kat, who is a complete fucking disaster in so many ways. But also, I don't know that this podcast would even work without her here to confuse things.
That was beautiful.
Thank you. I thought it was good. It was like a little, I could sense if I just left it on a nice note, you'd be like, oh. And if I throw a little sting in there for you, you'd be like, oh, I'm back.
I'm back. Yeah, no, that was
I wouldn't want to give you the ick, you know?
You still over that. Oh my god.
Nope.
I'm such a bad person.
Not over it. Still with it.
Great. Give me something else to beat myself up about. Why don't
Do not beat yourself up over it. Everyone, please message the Instagram account for World to Rights podcast with nice messages for Kat. Thank you.
Oh, that would be nice. Thanks, guys.
That would be nice. There you go. Now she's asked for it. So do it.
Or you could send me hate, because then I have
don't fucking send her. If you send her hate, I'll send you the things that I send that other guy. And it will not be nice, and it will be very expletive filled, and you will hate everything afterwards. So let's not waste our time on it. Send her the nice things.
Okay.
I think I just threatened people.
I was going to say about sending dog shit in the post.
No,
I'm not gonna lie.
What's happening? No, be nice to Kat, and Kat, be nice to yourself, for fuck's sake. Come on. We love you. Everyone in this podcast loves you, Kat. and we, me and Kat, love you, person listening or watching. Smooth.
Should we say goodbye before I say something stupid? Oh, I've done 2.5 hours of that already.
No, I was going to say it in a sarcastic way. You pulled back and then you No. Right.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye. It's been great.
Bye.
Bye.